Hello there, and welcome once again to this podcast channel, The Awakened Path. What a time we're going through. There's so much happening in the stars at the way of the astrological planets moving and impacting us in truly looking inside and understanding what is holding us back. Why are we not living in honor to our authentic self, and what can we do about this? Today in this episode, I want to talk to you about the soul contracts you're ready to break so that you can reclaim your power and end karmic ties. What a topic, right? First of all, thank you for being here once again. Thank you for stopping by. Please subscribe to this channel so that I can inform you every time I upload a new video. And if this information really lights you up and gives you some value, leave me a comment and share with your friends. Thank you, and let's dive right in. I was guided to share about this topic in this moment because this is something most all of us on earth at this time are dealing with. It is showing up in different ways in your life. For example, you are trying to do something that you love. You're putting yourself out there. You're trying new things. You're giving it all at work. You are wanting to reclaim relationships with your loved ones or with friends. But somehow there are things that are not quite rolling. They're not moving smoothly in the direction that you desire. And most importantly, you recognize that there's a pattern here. You recognize those famous merry-go-rounds of life. You know those times in your life where you've tried to do things that didn't go as you wanted them to go, and then you looked at the whole experience, learning from it and wanting to understand why this went the way it went, why that happened for you, even when you come at it with your highest self in a beautiful, inquiring, curious mind, and you learned that, oh, I can see that there's this soul lesson for me in this story, so I'll make sure I learn it, and next time I won't do it, so that next time I'm confronted with a similar situation, things go better. And then next time comes around and whoops, once again, merry-go-round, you are in the same tough spot. And you try and you just get so frustrated that life is bringing you to confront the same issue over and over again with different players and different scenarios. But at the bottom line, it is the exact same issue, just being played in a different stage with different colors, different people, different actors, same topic. And you may be asking yourself, well, why is this? I've given it my all. I've done the work. I've gone to all kinds of psychotherapists or coaches or healers, and whoops, I'm still here. And that's why I want to address this with you today. When we decide to incarnate, we make a plan, a life plan, and we agree with all the players in our life that we're going to meet, that we're going to play these roles so that we can learn, so that we can both grow, and so that we can really get our up leveling and eventually be enlightened, which is really where we're heading. The ascension is just part of the process of getting really to that self-realization of the divine that we are. And when we try hard and we can't get there, it can be demoralizing, it can be tiring, and it can be discomforting. That's why today I want to bring your attention to some other things that may be happening at the same time. When we are here embodied, our soul in this body, the body carries memories that are called cellular memories. It carries ancestral information that is brought into our bodies, memories that are baked into our genes, and with information that comes through the exact moment in which we were conceived, the exact moment in which we chose to be birthed, actually, and come out from the womb into the world. That information can be looked at through astrological lenses, even though at this time astrology is wonderful, but it's limited to the moment of birth, or you can look at it through a tool that is fascinating, like human design, that gives you an insight also on what are these ancestral memories and these unconscious patterns that we come into this life to learn, to untangle, to look at. And then also understand that the ancestral information we bring is because we made a vow to our whole lineage in this lifetime, on earth at this time, to clear this topic or these topics that we made a vow to clear, not just for ourselves, but for future generations to come, and also freeing the generations that came before us. This is huge. We came making an agreement that we would take the task of ensuring that we release the old souls in our lineage, at least 7 generations backwards, from whatever trauma we agreed to work with, and to ensure that it stops with you. It stops with us. That's huge. It stops with us, and it won't go forward into the future generations. It won't go forward to your children and your children's children and your children's children's children, because that is how ancestral trauma gets passed through. And again, this is one more layer that could be informing your field as you're being confronted with being stuck in a circle of this merry-go-round, confronting you continuously with the same issues. There's more. This is not all. To this, you have to add another layer, which is your soul. Your soul is here on earth now. But if you're on earth at this time as an adult, 99.9% you've also been on earth in at least 700 more lifetimes. At least 800 lifetimes if you are an awakened soul. And there's several of those lifetimes, not all of them, but many, that relate to the lessons you came into this life to heal and release fully. And in these past lifetimes, where there were topics that you didn't fully heal, and not only, maybe you created problematics and karmic situations because of your actions in those lifetimes, are influencing your current lifetime. For this, it is important to break these karmic agreements that we may have with others in past lives that are here as well, playing out in this lifetime as a different role, exchanging information with you, friends, family, different positions in the family, but also karmic agreements you made as spirit. A typical one is a vow of poverty. Many of us may have been nuns or priests or acolytes in some religious manner, or even bodhisattvas following Buddha. All of those roles in past lives where, because of the tradition of those roles, we made a vow of poverty. And that vow is still in our soul imprinting, in our soul blueprint. We died and we never broke that vow. And in this lifetime, we may be finding that this vow of poverty keeps showing up in our lives. Whatever we do, we cannot accumulate abundance in the material way. Whatever we do, when things go well, suddenly things not go well. That's a typical one, very much found across the board. Another one could be that you are carrying more weight than you feel comfortable with. And yes, part of that is about trauma that you experienced as a child, and this additional weight can have a function of protection, but it can also come from past lives whereby we had lifetimes where we were poor and homeless, and where we suffered from not being able to eat, or when we were in cultures where there was a lot of suffering with regards to finding food that we can eat and nourish ourselves. And in this lifetime, we carry a memory of this tremendous suffering and stress of not finding food. And therefore, we overeat because there's a memory there telling us you may not have food again. So make sure you load up now when you can. And these are just a few examples. There's so many of these agreements that we carry. And there's so many karmic agreements that we may carry still in this lifetime that unless you clear them, unless you fully release them, unless you break those karmic chains, bonds, then no matter what you do and how much work you do, you won't be able to move forward freely into an abundant, joyful, fulfilling life. So here's the thing. You can do some of the introspection about, is this happening in your life? Looking at the times where you are giving your power away, how are you giving your power away? Who are you giving your power away to? In what ways you're giving your power away? Sometimes it's not something that happens with another person, but it's something that happens in your inner narrative. You are telling yourself that you are not worthy, that you are not worthy of receiving money, of being seen, of being loved, of being accepted, of being received, of any of the narratives you may carry that are really you putting yourself down, therefore giving your power away to somebody else. Reclaiming your power and understanding that it's not about whoever and whatever situation is out there. It is simply about the way in which you show up for life, in life, with life, fully empowered and trusting that you are exactly where you need to be, exactly at the time you need to be there, doing exactly whatever it is you're doing, from being a mom, being a sister, a daughter, an admin, a general manager, a spiritual teacher, whatever it is, a serving in the military, whatever is your role. Taking it all in, knowing this is aligned, this is where I'm meant to be, and reclaiming your power. That is step one of really ending karmic ties. But then there's also an inner introspection and inquiry to understand clearly, where may I be still honoring karmic ties that are from past lives and that don't pertain to this one. And you can go into this inspired inquiry by asking clear questions about what is happening in your life that is frustrating to you in this moment, that is keeping you stuck. You can do this by asking questions to yourself in what is known as clean language. Clean language is when you're not using any kinesthetic cues or visual cues or auditory cues, where you are actually asking yourself a question that is completely clean of any subconscious guidance, so that you can go in and find the answers. For example, what do I know about quote unquote this now? In that this, put whatever is happening in your life and keep probing, keep asking questions to get clearer and clearer, going deeper and deeper into the information that you keep receiving as answers from your inner knowing, from your body, from the cues your body is giving you. So in a case where you've asked a clean question about what do I know about this now, and suddenly you feel that your body is hurting in any place, then you want to ask the next question. Why is my body in pain in the stomach at this moment? What are you trying to tell me, body, with this pain? Why is the pain in the stomach or the solar plexus? And listen, what's important is that when we ask these questions to our higher self, to spirit, to our guides, we need to then be quiet and honor silence moments so that we can hear the question. And if you cannot quite grasp the answers that are coming in a way that are crystal clear for you, then ask that. I ask that this information may come to me in a crystal clear way so that I can understand it. And keep asking and keep going deep. It's also true that sometimes we cannot do this fully alone. Sometimes we need help. Sometimes we need somebody else to help us access the Akashic field, the Akashic records, the book of our lives or our past lives, the book of the future potential lives, so that we can access what is going on, what program is still going on in our lives. And other times, it's important that we do the ancestral healing work. There are so many tools out there to help us release our ancestors and end these karmic chains that have been holding us down for also the future generations. One of the most sacred work I do is known as the shamanic constellations. And a shamanic constellation is one of the most beautiful sacred works where secrets that have been held in your lineage and abuses that have been passed generation through generation, sometimes unbeknownst to you, all of the issues that were traumas in your lineage can be finally be spoken, can be seen, can be released. And the shamanic constellation brings profound healing to what we're talking about, these karmic ties, especially the ones that are ancestral, and release us to finally step up and live our lives in a different way. I'm going to leave information for you in the description below in case you are curious about how to work with me for the shamanic constellations, how to work with me to access the Akashic field, and also the information from your divine guides. We can do a lot of work to support you in truly releasing this when you're ready, if you're ready. Overall, understand that there's more than the work you may have been done, that sometimes we get frustrated about why am I not moving forth regardless of how much effort I've put in here. And that's because the universe, A, responds to your frequency and not to the effort, but B is because these ancestral traumas, these karmic ties may be affecting that frequency that you're putting out to the universe and also holding you back through the narratives and through the energetics that still are programs running in your life that are old programs. And you are ready to break these ties, to break these karmic chains, to release these energetic influences that are baked into your genes. We can release that. We can work in releasing the cellular memories from your body and reactivating your divine blueprint, the one for the most perfect expression of who you are. The reason why I love sharing this is because it's not about you working with me. Maybe I'm not the one you resonate to work with, but this is work you can do with other shamans, with other medicine men and women, with other coaches, with other mediums and channelers. But the point here is that you are aware that there's more than meets the eye, and that there's these layers, these ancestral agreements of carrying the trauma, and therefore also the ancestral agreements of being the one stepping forth and ending it here and releasing the past souls that were on this lineage, and also stopping so the future ones don't need to go through this. But there's also soul agreements that you made in past lifetimes that you may still carry and that are no longer serving you, because in this lifetime you're not a monk, you're not a nun. In this lifetime you may be a businesswoman or whatever it is that you are, or businessman, and it's important that you're aware of all these other layers of what's going on in your life. This is an amazing time to do this type of work. This year, 2025, is a year where continuously, not only at every new moon and full moon, and also a moment where the planets in the sky are dancing with us and going into oppositions of some type, squares that are bringing tension for us to really see what's holding us back, and then moving into trines or conjoint moments where they work together to support support us in moving forward. It's a year where it is amazing how much support we have and guidance through what is happening at a bigger level, at a collective level, supporting that we do this exact job that I was describing in today's video. So for you and for me, I wish us all blessings so that we can step up, rise up, and keep expanding the most beautiful expression of who we are. Thank you for being here once again. Please remember to subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, and leave me a comment. Much love and many blessings.